Russia lit up the spectrum first. Ukraine finished the fight anyway. You clicked for the airbase strike, stay, because the rail kill switch wasn't a missile, it was a counterjam that turned a $1.7 billion fortress blind. We'll break down how a convoy on E-38 became a burning corridor after the KRUD BM and LER-3 tried to cut drone links. Frequency hopping kicked in. Inertial NAV took over. GPS spoofing failed. And the kill chain stayed hot. If you care about who owns the airwaves, this is the moment it flipped. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You expect jammers to smother the link. So why did the kill chain stay live when Russia lit up the sky and threw noise across the road? Because the convoy on E-38 was a test bed built for a knife fight in the ether, not a clean lab run. Recon Mavics mapped heat in short hops, low and quiet, pushing thermal hits and road edge signatures.
Videos posted on the Russian Telegram channel MASH appear to show explosions in the sky.
And according to Russian media, about 25 drones were involved in the attacks, and most of them were actually shot down or allegedly shot down in the Moscow suburbs.
Moscow's mayor says drones caused minor damage to several buildings and 2 people sought medical assistance after the strike.
A Punisher strike sat high and lean, feeding data down to ground teams. FPV pilots staged in the tree lean, masks on, antennas tight, while a TB2S scanned with a wide lens, looking for the flicker that says they're awake. Then the KRUD BM command truck blinked, and the LER-3 module came online. Broadband noise rolled first, white roar across the band, the kind that eats cheap links and lazy configs. You could see shortcuts in the feed, little hiccups. Then a pivot to GPS spoofing hit the stack with false fixes, pushing waypoints a few meters off, then a few more. That's the part that blinds a net that only trusts one clock. But this net ran spread spectrum like a thief runs alleys. Frequency hopping burst across tight slots, each hop timed off a seed the jammer didn't own. Lock-on needs a rhythm. Break the rhythm, and the Russian set spends cycles chasing ghosts, sweeping a band that already moved. It's ugly for the pilot for a breath, static, pixelation, a beat of lag, but the lock never holds, and the stream breathes again. Spoofing tried to do what noise could not.
Russia has accused Ukraine of carrying out a drone attack on its capital, Moscow, in which several buildings were damaged.
But Russian authorities did not specify the concrete number of drones involved.
Russia's defense ministry said it shot down 5 unmanned aerial vehicles and diverted 3 others electronically.
It pushed a false map under the drones, a quiet drag on the compass. The fix was a simple rule baked into the flight brain: when drift crosses a hard line, call it a sliver past 1%, kill trust in the sky clock and ride the gyros. Inertial navigation took the wheel. It isn't perfect over long runs, but over a few hundred meters it holds a line like a good driver in fog. The course stayed true. The target stayed tagged. Meanwhile, the relay went vertical. The high Punisher of strike became the clean pipe. Data climbed above ground clutter, beyond the worst of the hostile lobes. Up there, the interference thins, and line of sight hardens. Ground teams fed it, and it fed them back: target boxes, motion hints, link health. That's how you keep a quarrel of drones from fighting the spectrum alone. Think of it like a car chase on a 6-lane highway. The drones shift lanes at random. The jammer is a single roadblock rolled into the middle. It can stall 1 lane. Maybe 2. It can't cover all 6 when the drivers keep moving. The LER-3 adapted. It cut noise and leaned into spoofing only, aiming for the brain not the ears.
Kyiv has not responded to Moscow's accusations. It has previously denied involvement in drone attacks on Moscow.
And according to Moscow Department of Transport, the traffic in the area was blocked and the GPS signals were jammed after the alleged drone attacks.
The Ukrainian stack flagged the pattern: a drift that didn't match inertial history, a time slip in the satellite clock, and auto-reverted to inertial first control with a tighter hop schedule. Control latency ticked up a hair. Accuracy held. The pilots felt the weight, but the nose stayed on the line. So the map never died. The convoy stayed lit from lead truck to diesel tanker. Heat marks on engines. Antennas noted and ranked. The moment the spectrum should have gone dark, the Ukrainian net got crisper. Less chatter. Cleaner calls. The kill chain didn't surge forward with flash, it sharpened. 1 link at a time, it held. The spectrum is contested now, and that's fine. The next move is kinetic: 3 cuts to turn a steel column into a dead road, and every blade lands where the net says it should. If the airwaves stayed hostile, why did 3 kill points light up inside a minute? Because timing and lanes were built into the ground plan before the jammers woke. The L-shaped ambush sat on intersecting lanes with cover that hid heat and metal. Infantry stayed low signature, rifles quiet, antennas masked by tree lines and culverts. UAVs stacked by roll, spotters low, relays high, hitters tucked in, held a rhythm the noise could not break.
Well, Russian media reports that drones hit at least 3 residential buildings in Moscow. Drones were also allegedly shot down in Moscow suburbs. And videos of this, especially smoke in the sky, are now being circulated.
The convoy rolled long and heavy, troop trucks up front, ammo carriers mid-pack, a diesel tanker breathing heat, a command truck with its own jammer mast riding high. The first FPV team went in during peak pressure. That was by design. If a link can live at the worst moment, it can live for the rest. Any desync would mean a miss, and a miss pulls fire and blows the whole plan. So pilots took short bursts, not long holds. They flew by sight marks and inertial cues, not clean bars on a tablet. You could feel the lag tick, but the noses stayed steady. This is where small charges make big moves. 6-pound shaped charges angle into engine blocks and fuel lines. You don't chase the boom. You take the breath away. An engine kill turns a mover into a barrier. 1 truck stalls, 2 more break, the line kinks, and your lanes narrow. That's how you build control in seconds, mobility first, fireballs later. The second wave cut the spine. Mid-column, the command truck and the munitions carriers drew marks. Comms masts are tall and fragile, you shave them at the base and the net inside the convoy goes dumb. That hit is about coordination more than steel. Leaders can't call, gunners can't hear, and orders revert to hand signs and guesswork. The road becomes a crowd, not a unit. Then you close the rear. A final FPV rode the turbulence and locked the tail. Now you have a kill box. The burning corridor forms on its own, a stalled front, a sealed back, and hot metal in the middle that scares off rescue vehicles and slows aid. Fire spreads by drip and fan. Smoke hides what matters to the people inside the trucks and lays a clean mark for the teams overhead. There is a human cost. The column folded on itself, doors thrown open, men bailing off the berm. Return fire came in short bursts and faded. The account notes no Ukrainian losses in that slice. You don't gloat. You keep count, and you move. Meanwhile, the airbase vector pushed on the same seam in the spectrum. The Balashika Axis used quadcopters to stitch blind spots where towers and hangars cast shadows. The TB2S tagged hot nodes, the uplinks, the dishes, the little rooms with fans that mean servers. Ukrainian EW trucks drove noise into the response net, not to crush, but to slow. Delay buys hands and feet time. The payoff showed fast. Seconds after uplinks near a server cluster were hit, the Eastern Command spine went cold. Radar handoffs staggered. Coordination dropped. The window that ground teams needed opened and stayed open long enough to finish their tasks. That is what a cold network looks like, not sparks, but silence where orders should be. You want the lesson. It's not a slogan. Own the spectrum first so your precision has a lane. Keep tempo so the other side never sets the clock. And when the next move shifts back to the airfield, the same rule applies: cut the link, mark the nodes, and drive the timing until their screens lie in your hands. Stay steady. The first target isn't steel. It's the link. Own the spectrum and you decide who sees, who shoots, who lives to maneuver. That's what the Balashika collapse showed. When the command node goes dark, units drift and timing dies. You, right now, choose a side of the console. Hit the subscribe button and comment your choice below. Jam the net or harden the link. If you want more hard analysis on the tools and tactics that decide these fights, subscribe now. Next time, we break the counter to the counter, how spoofing, hopping, and inertial tricks evolve in weeks, not years, and why that race never stops.